So can a mortgage be transferred from a home seller to a home buyer? Actually, the answer is sometimes. Again, it's Stephanie Johnston over here at the Johnston team at Service First Mortgage, and want to talk a little bit today about that process and the ins and outs. If you're considering marketing your home for sale and taking advantage of this is something you gotta hear. So as a home seller, transferring the mortgage from you to a new homeowner is possible with some loan types. It is called a loan assumption. So a loan assumption are generally speaking allowed on VA and FHA loans, but not generally on conventional or jumbo. So if you're in the group that you have a VA or an FHA loan, those are the two most common types. The first step is calling loan servicing, so where you make your mortgage payment to see if your loan is in the eligibility category for an assumption. If you have a different loan type and you think by chance it is assumable, eligible, that is something that your servicer will be able to let you know. Second piece to that is we have to look at the process and timeline for the assumption. So generally speaking, we have asked in the last couple of months, had a lot of people call servicing to inquire about this. And most servicing departments have said 90 to 120 days for an assumption process. So much longer than the traditional sub 30-day closings that you get when you get a new mortgage. So something to consider. The other thing that you want to definitely consider when doing an assumption, we're going to be looking at the making sure that the new homeowner is vetted and fully qualified. So when you do purchase a home on the market, you get pre-qualified or pre-approved, which means before contract qualified. Some of the servicers are not going to have that process for an assumption. You're going to do a contract and then apply. So we want to make sure that the homeowner can meet the goals or meet the requirements of the assumption process and not have any trouble getting the assumption approved. So servicing departments should tell you the requirements for the assumption for the homeowner, as well as any costs associated and timeline. And I would get all of that again before you opt to market it on your property. Also, you could see if they could get maybe qualified for a traditional mortgage before they go forward with that process, just to make sure that they could meet those traditional lending guidelines if need be. The other thing, again, is this is a benefit as a marketing tool. So if you're home and you've got a super low rate, even though these longer timelines exist, you can get past them, it still may be a benefit if you need it as an extra thing to help sell your property. The other piece, the biggest piece that we see come up is going to be that we've had equity increase by substantially over the last couple of years. So remember, since we're transferring an existing loan, the remaining term, the current interest rate, everything about it, that whatever the balance is of that, that's what the new loan amount's going to be. So if you're selling your home for more than what the current loan balance is, that cash differential, or that differential has to be paid in cash or brought to the closing table. So we need to make sure that the new homeowner is someone that has the money to be able to do that. Sometimes we have seen sellers carry second liens for homeowners to make sure that to bridge that gap and get paid over time. That is something that some servicers will allow. So you want to make sure that that's requested as something that if they would or would not allow. And then of course, consult an attorney to look at that risk to see if that is worth it. Lastly, one of the things specific to a VA assumption, when you transfer a VA assumption, the new person getting the loan actually does not have to be a veteran. So some people think so, not the case. However, if they are not a veteran, the veteran themselves does not get what's called their entitlement back. So entitlement determines how much a VA mortgage you can have as a veteran. And so if you are considering if you are a veteran considering an assumption transfer, you definitely want to let us help you, call us about that up front so we can run how that's going to affect you, or if it's going to affect you for any future home purchases down the line or home loans. So again, assumptions are a great way to market those low rates on homes if your sellers or you or a seller have one on your property. But going into it with all of the facts, the information is imperative. Again, making sure your assumption qualifies, that we verify that equity differential, and then the timeline and process needed to qualify for that assumption. So again, Stephanie Johnston over here at Service First Mortgage, here to help, and hopefully this information was helpful. Thanks.